A baby's born. Wrap up a baby gift of $5,000, will ya? What? At Sophia's carefree tone, I couldn't help but exclaim aloud. It's been years since I've been in touch with Sophia, after what happened. And yet, she wants to be celebrated? That's just crazy. When I told my husband Noah about this, let's both go and give a baby gift, he surprisingly said. Unbelievable. But Noah seemed to have a plan. So I ended up going with him to Sophia's house. A reunion with Sophia after such a long time, we greeted her with smiles and congratulations. Congratulations on your baby, Sophia. This is our gift for the baby. Noah, smiling, handed her a piece of paper. The moment she saw it, Sophia's face changed. What is this? Sophia turned pale. It's nice to see you again, Mrs. Jones. With that, Noah took off his hat and smiled cunningly. Seeing Noah clearly, Sophia's eyes widened in shock. You are... And she began to tremble pitifully. My name is Harper Thomas, just turned 30. My husband is the 35-year-old Noah, and our recently 4-year-old daughter Charlotte. This is our family of 3. A normal, peaceful life, but the journey here wasn't smooth. Actually, this is my second marriage. My first marriage goes back about 5 years. Charlotte is the child of my ex-husband Elijah. Elijah is remarried, just like me. His wife is my younger sister Sophia. Sophia, 29, a year younger than me. Being close in age, we should have stayed on good terms as adults. But I haven't been in touch with Sophia for a long time. After what happened, it's natural. People who don't know the situation say things like, sibling fight? Make up soon. However, what Sophia did to me isn't something easily forgiven. What happened between us sisters? There lies a complex situation. As kids, I remember Sophia and I were just ordinary, close sisters. The change began to show maybe when Sophia entered middle school. She realized she had a cute face, started getting into fashion, experimenting with clothes and hairstyles, and dieting more. Naturally, her studies started to suffer. Sophia was getting scolded more and more by our parents and teachers. Moreover, my presence probably added pressure on her. Not to toot my own horn, but I was relatively good at academics, maintaining decent grades. Sophia would get upset being compared to me. Of course, I tried to support her. I'd ask our parents not to be too hard on her, and sometimes helped her with her studies. But interest can't be forced. Her grades didn't improve, and Sophia dove deeper into beauty. She started wearing makeup, and by high school, she even appeared in magazines as a model. Sophia's circle of friends had become quite flashy, but she still looked up to me. Big sis, top of the class again. You're so smart. I really admire you. I brag about you to all my friends. She often said things like that warmly. Eventually, I entered a prestigious university. A year later, Sophia went to a beauty school. It was around then that something puzzling happened. I was at a cafe near the station working on an assignment when I heard a familiar voice. It was Sophia and her friends. They mentioned using this cafe sometimes. It was awkward, but they couldn't see my table from where they were. So I stayed put. Soon, one of Sophia's friends said, This is near South University, right? Your sister goes to South University, doesn't she? So smart, wow. Then Sophia said something unbelievable. Yeah, that plain Jane who does nothing but study. I couldn't believe my ears, but it was unmistakably Sophia's voice. Wow, Sophia, that's harsh. Are you two not close? Not at all. We get along fine superficially, but she doesn't care about fashion, just studies all day, and is honestly so uncool. Even if we meet in town, I'd never want her to talk to me. She's happy getting praised by teachers and parents for her studies, no matter how uncool she looks. Laughing, Sophia said, I was frozen, unable to move. I never knew Sophia thought of me that way. Shocked and angry, I was dumbfounded. I came home much later than usual. Sophia was her usual self. Hey, big sis, welcome back. You're late. Studying at the library again? You're such a hard worker. I was confused. Which was the real Sophia? But I didn't have the courage to confront her about what I heard. So our days continued superficially unchanged. My heart remained clouded. That's partly why, after graduating from university and getting a job, I decided to move out of my parents' house. After that, I hardly saw Sophia. Time passed and I turned 25. Around this time, I was set to marry Elijah, a college classmate. We reconnected at an alumni meeting and hit it off. Elijah was an ordinary employee, but his family owned a lot of land in prime urban locations. In other words, he was from a wealthy family. However, that didn't matter to me. I was attracted to Elijah's generous personality. With our wedding approaching, I went back home to introduce Elijah. Of course, Sophia was there. Sophia, now a working adult, had become an esthetician. She must have been really into beauty. Her makeup, style, and fashion were perfect, like a model's. I was nervous at first, but Sophia laughed freely and congratulated us as before. My heart gradually warmed to Sophia again. Maybe back then, Sophia was just a moody teenager. Time has passed and we've both grown up. I convinced myself of that. Soon, Elijah, Sophia, and I, being close in age, became good friends. Sometimes the three of us would hang out together. It would have been tough for Elijah if Sophia and I were still awkward. This is good. After marrying Elijah, I quickly got pregnant. I decided to give birth near my parents' home. So I discussed with my parents and started visiting a hospital nearby. It was a busy time. I had severe morning sickness and had to be hospitalized for a while. My parents visited, but I rarely saw Elijah or Sophia. But I was too ill to worry about that. I didn't have the luxury to worry about others. Looking back, I wish I had paid more attention. Maybe then I would have noticed. And then I went into labor. A healthy baby girl was born. Her name is Charlotte. But my health took a while to recover, so I stayed at my parents' home for some time. Elijah, busy with work, didn't visit, only sending messages and calling. Eventually, my health improved bit by bit. Finally, I could return to Elijah's home. What would Elijah say when he saw the baby? Thinking lightheartedly, I opened the door. Elijah, I'm home. No answer. As I opened the living room door, a shocking scene unfolded. Elijah and Sophia, half-dressed, intimate like lovers. What? I was speechless. Elijah hurriedly got dressed. In contrast, Sophia was oddly calm. What the heck is going on? Harper, this is a misunderstanding. Welcome back, big sis, Sophia said, smiling. Not welcome back. Explain this. What? Isn't it obvious? We're in a relationship like this, Sophia nonchalantly said, wrapping her arm around Elijah's. My head was pounding. What was Sophia talking about? Resigned, Elijah apologized. I'm sorry. What's that? I can't believe this. It's unbelievable, both of you. Even with me and Charlotte here, it's just wrong. Confused, I rushed out of the house. But where could I go? Reluctantly, I took Charlotte and went back to my parents' house. As I explained the situation to my parents, my mobile phone rang. It was Elijah. I'm sorry for surprising you earlier, Harper, but Sophia and I have developed feelings for each other. I want a divorce. What? What are you talking about? We have Charlotte, remember? Child support for Charlotte. So? I couldn't understand what he was saying. Confused, I listened to Elijah's explanation, why he got involved with Sophia. It seems Elijah found Sophia cute the first time he saw her, but she was his wife's sister. They became close as relatives of similar age. Then I was hospitalized for morning sickness. During that time, Elijah and Sophia grew closer. Sophia had tearfully confessed that I had always been mean to her since we were kids. Big sis always called me stupid. I never said such terrible things. It was clearly a lie by Sophia, but Elijah believed her story. His own complexes played a part in this. Elijah, coming from a wealthy family, had entered university through a large donation. In other words, it was an unfair admission. He hadn't gotten into the prestigious university on his merit. These complex feelings made him feel inferior to me, who entered through general admission. This background led Elijah to empathize with Sophia. He believed her story and became disappointed in me. You're smart and responsible, sure, but that doesn't mean you should belittle Sophia. I'm disappointed in you. Marrying such a mean-spirited woman was a mistake. What are you talking about? That's a lie by Sophia. Don't believe it. No, I'm not being fooled. I'll sign the divorce papers and send them to you. Wait a minute. Listen to me. My cries were in vain as the call ended. Unbelievable. He believed such lies. I was stunned. A few days later, overwhelmed by everything, I came down with a fever. My parents, knowing everything, comforted me and took care of Charlotte. How pathetic. I need to recover quickly and sort out this mess. While I was thinking this, the entrance door opened. I thought it was someone else, but it was Sophia. Oh, big sis, you're here at home, Sophia said nonchalantly as she returned. I couldn't suppress the trembling anger. What are you talking about? What do you mean, Sophia? Lying and deceiving Elijah, I shouted. My parents heard the commotion and rushed over to stop us. But we didn't stop. I've always hated you, big sis. Sophia spoke in a lower tone than usual, slowly. Just because you were good at studies, you received all the love and expectations. I couldn't stand it. So, I wanted to take away what was most important to you. The house fell silent at Sophia's confession. I couldn't believe Sophia had such thoughts. Anyway, focusing on beauty paid off. Elijah is just a typical man. Fell for it easily. Sophia spoke with a smile. I was speechless. So the Sophia in that cafe was her true self. What had I been seeing all this time? The real Sophia hated me so much. I had only seen the convenient illusion of a doting Sophia. Stunned, I watched as Sophia casually gathered her things to leave. Elijah's house is so plain and tacky. It's not my taste at all. I'm going to change everything. Apparently, she planned to stay at Elijah's house. Despite my parents' attempts to stop her, Sophia left briskly. Dizzy, I found myself sitting in the hallway. Then, my daughter Charlotte began crying in the other room. I needed to comfort her, but I couldn't move. Supported by my parents, I finally managed to stand up. I don't remember much after that. All I knew was I didn't want to see Elijah and Sophia's faces. After discussing with my parents, we concluded that divorce was the only option. I cried, not for myself, but for Charlotte. Even in this situation, Elijah showed no concern for her. Such a terrible father. But then, maybe it's better not to have such a father. That thought was one of the reasons I decided to divorce. I quickly signed the divorce papers Elijah had mailed and delivered them to the office. Thus, my first marriage ended unceremoniously. Fortunately, my parents supported me. They harshly told Sophia not to come back home. Thanks to that, I never had to meet Sophia again. Gradually, I regained my composure. Sophia and Elijah might have married, but it no longer mattered to me. I had to protect my life with Charlotte. Time passed. Luckily, my workplace was within commuting distance from my parents' home, so I didn't have to change jobs. I worked hard, desperate. Although the alimony from the divorce trial was paid without delay, I was a single mother. I had to save as much money as possible. I was a bit anxious. My friends might have noticed. One day, a friend suggested introducing me to a man she knew. Initially hesitant, I agreed to meet him, assured he was a sincere person. His name was Noah Thomas, 5 years older than me, tall and well-built. I thought he'd be intimidating, but he was surprisingly serious and kind. Busy with work, he hadn't had much luck with women before. We were naturally drawn to each other. Charlotte warmed up to him as we spent time together. Then, one day, Noah said he wanted to protect Charlotte and me. I cried, moved by his words. Later, we got married. Now we live a simple but happy life as a family of 3. I thought I had nothing to do with Sophia anymore. But then one day, relaxing at home, my mobile phone rang. Instinctively, I answered. Big sis, how are you? Hearing Sophia's voice, I trembled. I should have checked the screen before answering. Too late for regrets. What do you want? I replied as coldly as I could. I didn't want any more disturbances in my peaceful life. Then, Sophia cheerfully said, A baby's born! Wrap up a baby gift of $5,000, will ya? What? After years of no contact, her expecting a celebration was absurd. And $5,000? No less? Ridiculous. I was outraged, but Sophia, unconcerned, continued talking about her life. She'd continued as an esthetician and opened her own salon about 3 years ago. The land and building for the salon were borrowed from Elijah's parents, located in a prime area. She bragged about how successful it was. Just a boastful story. I quickly ended the call, fed up with her self-centeredness. Unbelievable. How could she call so insensitively? I was seething with anger. That night, when Noah came home late from work, I immediately told him about it. Noah had been busy lately, always coming home late. But we made a point of having dinner together. He always valued our communication, saying from the beginning of our remarriage, I want us to talk about everything. Over dinner, I told Noah, Elijah's sister called? She's running a beauty salon now? Seems like it. Her ex-husband was wealthy, so he probably helped with the funding. What's her name? Sophia. She's now Sophia Jones. After I answered, Noah thought for a moment, then said, I see. That's what it is. What? What's wrong? Well, how about we both take a baby gift and visit Sophia's house? Noah suggested with a sly smile. What? Why would we do that? I don't want to. Calm down. I have a plan. He then shared a surprising fact and proposal with me. I was taken aback. When the weekend came, Noah and I, having left Charlotte with my parents, arrived at Sophia's house. It was a large, impressive home. Welcome. Sophia, smiling, greeted us at the door. She looked perfect, even post-pregnancy. It's been a while. You haven't changed, Sophia. I forced a smile. Then Sophia said laughingly, Of course not. I never neglect my beauty routine. Don't want to be cheated on like someone. Typical Sophia. I almost got angry, but I had to hold back for now. Sophia led us to her spacious living room. A baby was sleeping in the crib. Look, my daughter Amelia. Cute, right? Amelia did look adorable, much like Sophia, but maybe it was my imagination that her facial features seemed a bit harsh. So about that thing, Sophia gestured for money. How audacious. Just as I was about to retort, Noah put his hand on my shoulder. Nice to meet you. I'm Harper's husband, Noah. He bowed slightly, wearing his hat low over his eyes. Ah, okay, Sophia muttered disinterestedly. Noah then quickly pulled out a piece of paper from his inner pocket. This is our gift for the baby. Congratulations on your baby, Sophia. Upon seeing the paper Noah handed her, Sophia's complexion changed. What is this? She turned pale. Then Noah swiftly removed his hat. Nice to see you again, Mrs. Jones. I'm Noah Thomas from the police department. Seeing Noah clearly, Sophia's eyes widened in shock. You, the detective who came to my salon. She began to tremble. The baby gift Noah had handed over was actually a search warrant, a court-authorized document allowing the search and seizure of her home. Sophia, unable to hide her agitation. She had been committing fraud in her aesthetic salon, deceiving customers with false promises like guaranteed weight loss and selling dubious products. She enrolled them in expensive courses with little benefit, without proper explanation. She kept repeating such actions. Sophia had been warned by the Federal Trade Commission, but ignored it. Victims increased, contracts were forced, and Sophia even filled out paperwork herself. Several police reports were filed. Finally, the police started a forced investigation at the salon, led by Noah. Noah, a police officer by profession. Sophia cleverly hid evidence in her store, making it difficult for Noah to find proof. This case was the reason for Noah's late returns recently. By chance, the investigation subject turned out to be my sister. Sophia's call about the baby gift provided an opportunity to visit her home. To avoid raising her suspicions, Noah decided to use the baby gift as a pretext. Thus, Noah concealed his identity until the last moment, successfully entering Sophia's house. Noah signaled with his radio. Simultaneously, several police officers who had been waiting outside entered. Sorry, but this was the only way to get into your house. Then Elijah arrived. What's all this commotion? What's going on, Sophia? Sophia could only groan in response to Elijah's questioning. The police started searching various parts of the house, seizing numerous items in cardboard boxes. As Elijah began to understand the situation, he questioned Sophia further. He seemed unaware of my presence. In panic, Sophia suddenly lunged at one of the officers entering the house. Stop! Don't mess up my house! Sophia shouted. Noah raised his voice. Don't interfere! I'll arrest you for obstructing public duties. Hearing arrest, Sophia reluctantly let go. Her face twisted in frustration. But this wasn't the end for Sophia. She glared sharply at Noah. I'll tell Sebastian, Elijah's father. He knows many high-ranking police officials. He could easily cover this up. Sophia was relying on Elijah's father, a wealthy landowner with extensive connections. In her desperation, she turned to Elijah. You can do it, right? Your father has always used donations to influence people. What are you saying in front of the police? Elijah was flustered. Sophia, in her panic, lost the ability to think rationally. Noah spoke calmly. The Jones family, right? Old landowners. Sebastian Jones, Elijah's father, a former city council member and wealthy man. So, what about it? He's already been indicted for bribery in a corruption case. He's currently in custody. What? My father? Now it was Elijah's turn to panic. The Jones family was wealthy, but apparently involved in corruption. Elijah's fraudulent admission to university suggested a family habit of solving problems with money. Why is my father-in-law involved in this? I don't know. Sophia, were you committing fraud at your salon? Shut up. Now's not the time. Elijah and Sophia began arguing bitterly. Amidst the chaos, I quietly addressed Sophia. Isn't it time to give up? It's unbecoming. What did you say? You lied again. 4 years ago, you made up lies about me to Elijah, crushing my heart. And now, deceiving your clients for your own benefit? No matter how beautiful you are, your heart is ugly, the lowest of the low. What? Sophia opened her mouth to respond, but then a police officer's voice came from the back room. We found a work computer. Sophia bit her lip in frustration, likely knowing it contained incriminating evidence. Mrs. Jones, we'll discuss this in detail at the station. Please come with us. Sophia slumped in defeat, her face a picture of despair. It seemed she no longer had the energy to resist. Initially, Sophia denied the fraud charges at the station, but analysis of her computer's data uncovered evidence. She was arrested for fraud, extortion, and forgery. Her aesthetic salon, opened 3 years ago, was apparently in the red from the start. Her aggressive product promotions were desperate attempts to secure sales. But she didn't want anyone to know about her worsening financial situation. Pride had driven her to claim her business was thriving. Her sudden demand for a $5,000 baby gift must have been employed to cover her shop's losses. Dozens of customers had filed complaints against Sophia. The salon, facing hefty damages, went further into debt and closed down, leading to bankruptcy. Elijah and his family, who had invested capital, were furious. Understandably, Sophia was divorced. But Elijah's family wasn't spared either. His father, Sebastian Jones, was arrested for bribery. Their family had to liquidate all their properties to cover debts. Elijah, who had worked for his father's real estate agency, found himself ousted when other executives took control following his father's arrest. He later found work at an unrelated company, but he struggled, being overworked and underpaid. In such a state, he couldn't possibly take care of a child. Amelia, their daughter, was temporarily placed in children's foster care. Poor Amelia's birth into such a family seemed nothing but misfortune. Amidst these tumultuous days, I had been pondering something. Months later, I attended Sophia's trial to ensure she showed remorse. It felt like my final duty as her sister, but reality was harsh. In court, Sophia kept insisting, "I'm not at fault," denying all fraud charges despite clear evidence. "I only helped because the client said they wanted to lose weight, to be beautiful," she argued. Dark circles under her eyes, her appearance had turned frightful. Her hair was disheveled, her once cared-for beauty was gone. Her life choices were evidently reflected in her face. Sophia's state was pitiful. Reflecting on everything, I realized it all started with her jealousy towards me. But I never mistreated her. Our parents, initially upset with Sophia's lack of interest in studies, had stopped scolding her. Sophia had developed her complexes and twisted perceptions on her own. Afterwards, Sophia began to lie blatantly. It continued until the lies became her truth. Now, Sophia is just averting her eyes from reality. She concocts twisted facts and doesn't believe she's at fault. This is the result of her delusions. Poor Sophia. Eventually, the verdict was given. Due to the severity of her actions, she received no probation and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. It was expected. Yet, I couldn't help but wish for her to wake up to reality. I hope she considers the pain her lies caused others, even just a little. In prison, I hope she takes a hard look at herself. Months later, on a certain holiday, Charlotte, Noah, and I were at the park. We spread a leisure sheet on the grass, enjoying a light picnic. "I want to eat the tuna sandwich first," Charlotte exclaimed. "Hey, Charlotte, save some for Dad," Noah replied, and she laughed joyfully. We were back to our happy life. It reminded me of my own peaceful family upbringing. One thing is clear from this ordeal. I'm not perfect. I felt envy too. But rather than harming others with petty jealousy, I want to cherish empathy and focus on the small joys of daily life. That way, I won't be consumed by dark emotions. Charlotte and Noah happily ate their sandwiches. I quietly wished for these tranquil days to last forever.